Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of On the Mic with Mike. I am your host, Mike Larkin, and joining me today is Bodybuilder, the absolute awesome and amazing Miss Sandra Hewins. Sandra, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. How are you?
Pleasure to be here.
Well, I got to say, first and foremost, you were doing your thing on the bodybuilding realm, really showcasing your fitness style and really showcasing your elegance and your grace when it comes to competition. So I got to give you kudos and a lot of props because you're really doing your thing.
Thanks a lot. Try my
Oh, no, you're very welcome. I look at it from a stance too as well. When it comes to bodybuilding, there's a lot of discipline, there's a lot of finesse, there's a lot of respect, and there's a lot of great stuff that goes into it that really helps a lot of people. So I'm kind of curious for that gravitational pull, so to speak. How did you get involved into the world of bodybuilding?
I would have to say it's just training and staying in shape. And then I guess once you reach a certain plateau, you kind of want to see how far you can go with your physique. And then, you enter the world of bodybuilding.
I totally understand. I mean, I look at it from a stance too as well. We've looked in the days from when Arnold Schwarzenegger did bodybuilding, made the transition to acting, and we see so many people in so many different contests from, Flex Magazine, from Muscle and Fitness, and so many great imagery standpoints and just people going into competition. I think it's great for everybody, and I'm a big believer in people come in all shapes and sizes, but it's great to see the fitness side of things and everything that goes into it because a lot of people are getting into that world, and it's really beneficial in helping a lot of people.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it definitely keeps you consistent, and you have to, be very much dedicated to the profession of bodybuilding. It's not, once in a while type of career. It's sort of a lifestyle career. So if you're thinking about getting involved or getting into bodybuilding, you have to think of it as, a lifetime, career. Well, it should be, until you decide to retire. But yeah.
No, I get it. And I think what I love about it too is, we see a lot of professional athletes that are absolutely amazing, from whether it be, professional wrestling, fighting, combative natures, whether it be football, basketball, what have you. It's amazing just to see the grit and determination, like you talk about, training that goes into it. And I think what I also always appreciate about it, and we were talking about Flex Magazine, like I first saw bodybuilding, I remember going to a 7-Eleven and you see that cover and you see that imagery. It's one of those things where it's like, God dang, man, you want to have that body, but you also respect the craft of it. Because I think you can also agree with me here when you also equate it to life is an art form. We're all just applying our craft, so we're really just applying that art form to our craft, so to speak.
Yeah, well, yeah, everything that's I guess worth having is worth working for. You definitely have to put the work in, that's for sure. There's some time off you can take, but you have to always make sure you don't take too much time off, so that you can, stay consistent with, the way that bodybuilding is evolving and the physiques are changing. So you definitely have to, definitely stay on your toes, with that.
I look at it from a stance too as well, and I'm going to include you in this as well. When it comes to women in general and the overall beauty, strength, and dominance that women possess, it's one of those things too as well. It's with women like yourself and bodybuilding and all different sports and everything that go into it. It's great to see just women getting that shine and just the evolution of great women paving their way. So that's got to make you feel good, because with your overall grace and your discipline and what you provide to the world as far as bodybuilding in general, it's got to make you feel good that a lot of people are falling into your footsteps and really just showcasing their stuff. So you're a very empowering figure into the world.
Yeah, it's very rewarding, I would say. And a lot of times you don't know just how many lives you impact through, your bodybuilding career. But I think you get the, I guess the notoriety is when, someone, will say, hey, you inspired me to want to, either step into bodybuilding or to want to, get in better shape, or I just saw the way, you were either dedicated to, your competitions, and then they want to, see what it takes to become a bodybuilder. So those are your rewards, and that's the greatest of bodybuilding for me is just motivating people to want to be, great in our sport.
Absolutely. I've always been a firm believer in progression and succession, no regression. And that means training hard and doing what you do. And you see the progress and you see the success that goes along the way. And I mean, for you, with Chicago Pro Miss International, you're doing your thing at these competitions, winning them. And what I love about the competitions as well, and I'll say this because we mentioned the discipline part of it, it's the elegance, it's the poses and everything that goes into those days of those competitions. It really is an amazing event for those who have not seen it, because it's absolutely wonderful to see all the work from the presentation and the representation that goes into it.
Yeah, definitely. The presentation is, it has a lot to do with bodybuilding. It's not just training in the gym, every day, or even the diet is a big part of it. But presentation is probably going to be one of your biggest factors, because nothing really matters until you step on stage. No one sees how many hours you put in the gym. No one sees how long you dieted. They only see what you bring to the stage. So your presentation and how you show your physique and how you display all of your hard work is going to be what it comes down to. That's the end result. They don't know what you have until you show them, what you have. So yeah, that's definitely going to be your biggest factor.
I will say this, folks, if you've not been following Sandra here on her Instagram, because my goodness gracious, beast mode 24/7. And here's why I love you, Miss Sandra Hewins, because god dang, man, you show the reps, you show the sets, and every day is just waking up in the morning and boom, going straight to it. I got to say, besides the inspiring factor, it's very admirable because it's the dedication to the craft, and it shows with those videos and photos you post, man.
Yeah, I mean, I try to, show a little bit of, I guess, the way, my physique changes maybe from week to month or year to year, because that's what bodybuilding is all about. It's about the transformation of your physique. You should want your physique to change. That's the whole purpose. You don't want to look the same as you did from, competition to competition, or even, year to year. You want to always develop your body, bring up your weak points on your body and show people that you can constantly, change your physique if you just stick to it. There's no such thing as remaining the same in bodybuilding. You should always strive to look different, to, to develop more, to, get, either if it's trying you to either get leaner or put on more size, or, or maybe you might want to just, tighten up in areas where, you have, like I said, like weaker areas. So that's bodybuilding. You've gotta stick to it, and there's always room for improvement, like every day, every week, every month, every year. There's always room for improvement.
Look at it from a stance too as well. Sometimes you don't want to just stay in like the same lane. You want to improve and strive for success, and strive to be the best you that you can be. And like we were talking about the imagery standpoint, and you see those magazine covers, like I mentioned, Flex and Muscle and Fitness. For the ladies side of things, going back to that, I mean, you look at the world of modeling, like we were talking about, women come in all different shapes and sizes, just to see the equality and all the women doing their thing from the modeling side of things. I think it's very empowering, like we mentioned with bodybuilding, to just show these models, these fitness models, if you will, showcasing a set and something that's really inspiring, really holds the magnitude and the high regard that we see for women now. It's really great to see the evolution, the revolution that's yet to come.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, women have definitely came a long way in bodybuilding and just sports in general. We always have to kind of come up from the rear, so to speak, because we're not, in the forefront of any sport. We're always coming up, behind either, the male competitors or male professionals. So women have, a great, I would say, platform now, because there's so many women now that want to take those roles to be in the forefront now, including myself. So women are not afraid anymore, to, I guess, look the part, be the part, and, it's just becoming, more and more, I would say, prevalent that women are, very active in not only bodybuilding, but just sports in general. There were very few women involved in professional sports, a long time ago. And even bodybuilding, there wasn't, even a lot of women in the bodybuilding division, it was very, very, compared to the other divisions, women's bodybuilding was not one of your I will say more stacked divisions. So now women aren't afraid to, put on the muscle to, get the size that they need to actually, stand on stage in front of hundreds of people and show them that what their body is capable of. So, kudos to women's bodybuilding.
Absolutely. And I think that's the mindset that you have to have. And I think one of the terms I always used to hate, and this is just, I mean, I grew up with two strong women, and my mother and my grandmother, right? So my love, respect, and admiration for women goes a long way, yes. But what I also love about it too is, here's the thing, it's still out there, and there's a lot of ignorance, unfortunately, into this world. You think we've come leaps and bounds, but unfortunately there's some that's still there. One of the terms I used to hate was mannish, right? Like when you would talk about women in sports or bodybuilding, the term mannish would come up, and I'm like, no, you have to look at it from a stance too. It's strong women showing their discipline and showing their craft. So I mean, we've kind of sort of gone away from that term. Unfortunately, some of it still does with the ignorance in the world, but god dang, man, the mannish term has kind of need to like really dissipate. And I think it's great to see women like yourself standing at the forefront, kicking the door down, so to speak, and showcasing your strength in all different internal and external beauty standpoints.
Yeah, well, you mentioned like what are some of the negative, I would say, standpoints of women in bodybuilding, and it's always the well, women shouldn't put on too much muscle, or women shouldn't get too big, or they just they don't want to look like a man, so to speak. So those are most of the negative, I would say, standpoints in women's bodybuilding. You don't see too many other divisions get that sort of negative feedback. And I think it is because we do carry more muscle than the average woman, which is okay with us. So you just have to be comfortable in your own skin, and you don't have to be afraid, to step out of the box and, step, into other areas where you would probably have more size than maybe even some men, so you have to be very confident in that, and knowing that, muscle now is not to be feared. Actually muscle is sexy, in my opinion. It's not like, it used to be where women just didn't want to put on too much muscle, that they didn't want to, look too bulky. So, I don't think women now are afraid anymore to put on the size or put on the muscle that they want to put on. There's no limit now to how much muscle a female can put on.
I'm actually glad that you used the term sexy here, because I was going to bring up the sex appeal side of things. Because when it comes, I'll say from a point of view, being the man myself, I will say this: when it comes to that, the muscles and putting on, and the gains, if you will, the swole and the overall thick thighs save lives type of stuff that we hear, it's the sex appeal side of things that really, truth is truth. The sex appeal side of things really goes into it. And I think that's awesome, because we want to see that strength in women, both, like I mentioned, the internal and external standpoints. But at the same time, that confidence and swag and that overall, comfortability, like you mentioned, it goes a long way, and it's an attraction point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So, I guess you don't expect everyone to probably feel like more muscular women is their preference, but I mean, you can't worry about those people, when we decide to take that step to add muscle, on as a female, we're not worried about the critics. We're only worried about those who appreciate it. You know what I mean? So it's like we get enough, I would say, support from not only, other women, but men as well, that appreciate women that have muscle, or that have, I guess, muscle than the average, female, or even sometimes, like I said, you might have a little bit more muscle than some, smaller men. So we're okay with it. We just want everyone else to be okay with it, but we know every isn't, and that's fine. We're not doing it to please everyone, but, we do it because we feel like it is, something that is appealing, and we feel like it's sexy. We feel like it's very, I would say it gives you, a sort of confidence to know that, you know, you have actually put in the work that it requires to, you know, to have more muscle. So we're confident in that. So yeah, it makes us feel good actually, you know. So don't think you're making any female feel bad about having muscle. You're not, you know.
Absolutely. And I think what's great about it too is, speaking of the word muscle, we got to talk about this here, because also from the social media side of things, you've worked out with someone who's a dear friend of both of ours, the one and only Muscle MILF herself, Susan K. Just got her pro card. They're cheering her on as only as you can. She is another one, such a specimen, such a wonderful personality in her own right.
Yeah, Susan is a very, 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 very dear friend of mine. We've gone through, you know, some competitions together, supporting and helping each other. You know, like you said, she did just turn pro, and I was there to share that and be a part of that with her. And it was like one of the best experiences I've had with, you know, my female bodybuilding, you know, partners. And she rightly deserves it. You know, she works hard. She's very dedicated than most I've seen. Yeah, I mean, she definitely puts the time and work in. And, you know, I was just so happy to be a part of her pro, you know, transition from amateur to pro. And yeah, she's a beautiful person in general, you know. So yeah, she's still we still work out from time to time when our schedules permit it. But yeah, so she's one of the ones that, you know, will definitely, you know, do a lot of damage in women's bodybuilding.
I think with her now, she's starting to get into learning more into the professional wrestling side of things and really showcase that. And I think what's great in the world of sports, especially if you look at professional wrestling, a lot of those girls that came into, you know, said wrestling auspices and companies or in fighters start off models, start off doing their thing in the fitness realm, and they make that transition. And I think you can agree with me as well. It's amazing to see from the bodybuilding world and the transitions and the coincision, so to speak, into sports and what have you. Having that background is very impactful and very helpful. And it also leads to more successful careers and a lot of endeavors in the future.
Absolutely. Yes. Being, I would say, a woman that has, you know, more muscle than your average female, you do get a lot of attention. Some good, some bad, you know, but it goes with the territory. So it does take you into other avenues, you know, as far as modeling or fitness modeling, or even, you know, wherever avenue you desire to take your physique into, you have that availability to, you know, being extended to you. Because I mean, let's face it, we don't have the average body, you know, we don't have the average female body, you know. So like I said, it has its, you know, it has its ups and downs, but you know, you can definitely step into other venues, other professions with your physique. Like you said, Arnold Schwarzenegger actually went into acting, you know, as a part of his, you know, bodybuilding career. So you could definitely get into, you know, a lot of other avenues with your physique if you so choose to. So yeah, I would definitely not just limit your physique to just bodybuilding only.
Well, so you said the operative word, because there's a lot of specimens and there's a larger than life women and larger than life individuals. And I got to say, you do encompass that, man. You're a specimen, and you're a hell of a specimen in your own right, Miss Sandra Hewins.
Well, thank you so much. You know, like I said, I'm still, you know, trying to, you know, develop my physique more and more. You know, just going, you know, moving forward in women's bodybuilding, trying to make sure that everyone, you know, is more familiar with women's bodybuilding. So yeah, that's why I guess I agreed to like do this interview, because you know I do want people to, you know more and learn more about women's bodybuilding, because so many people, they don't know a lot about women's bodybuilding. They only know about, you know, the modeling and the fitness modeling or the beauty pageants, you know. But when it comes to women with muscle, you know, it's like, you know, that's very taboo. But we're trying to break open that barrier where we can, evolve into movies or videos or fitness modeling as a professional, you know, women's bodybuilder, you know, not as just, you know, everything is, you know, not just centered around, you know, your smaller, leaner type physiques, but more muscular, you know.
Exactly. And I think when you, again, going back to looking at the covers, where you look at a Sports Illustrated, where you look at a Muscle and Fitness, when you look at a Flex, it's great to see a lot of those girls from that perspective. But I also like to say, and I have to ask you this, because when it comes to the diet side of things, you're putting a lot of food and you're putting portions and everything into your body to get where you're at. So I got to ask you, when it comes to doing that front, do you have a cheat meal of any kind as well? I have to ask about the cheat meals because you're doing your thing, you're on your path, and you're doing what you need to do to get to where you need to for these competitions. But do you yourself, Miss Sandra Hewins, have a particular cheat meal?
I don't have a particular one. I do enjoy, I guess I'm gonna have to say this, but I'll have to probably clean it up later. But I do like junk food. So when I say junk food, I mean I do like my chips and my candy. I have a sweet tooth, so yeah, I like a lot of sweets and apple pies and lemon pies and things like that. But so that's my weakness. Superman had kryptonite this weekend, so that's everyone has a weakness, so that would be mine. So but at the same time, you've got to do it in moderation. So you try to keep it where it's just every now and then type of cheat meal is not something that you're doing on a regular basis. But if you're in prep, then more than likely you're not having too many cheat meals. You might get a few in the beginning, but as you get closer to your competition date, your cheat meals are going to go out the window. So it won't be any more cheat meals until after your contest. So yeah, you better get them in while you can.
Use the Italian word here, folks. It's manja. All the listeners, I want to get some apple pies and some chips. You're just breaking it out, man. I like your style with the sweet tooth. Those are nice cheat meals. I like your style. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, I got to say, when it comes to weakness, there's a lot of strength in that. And you, my friend, are probably one of the strongest and one of the most amazing people that we see in bodybuilding. And there's a lot of sweetness to you too, as well. You're a sweet human being. And I got to say this, Sandra, before we do close this out, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show and really learning about this and really giving you the platform to tell your story when it comes to bodybuilding and all different aspects and auspices of it. So I got to say, the overture's here for round two. Anytime you want to come back on the show, I'd be happy to have you.
I do it. I would love to be here. And thanks for the opportunity to showcase, my bodybuilding career on your show.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I love giving people a platform to tell their stories and everybody applying their crafts in this thing that we call life. One final question I have to ask you before I have you promote the social media front. Man, there's a lot of great, beautiful women going into bodybuilding, going into many different aspects of life. So for you being the strong, empowering women that you are, I got to ask you, what advice would you give to a lot of the girls going into the bodybuilding field and doing as only as you can do and so many other bodybuilders? What advice would you give them, Miss Sandra?
Well, I would tell them to just make sure they are, I would say, confident in going into women's bodybuilding, and just know that women's bodybuilding is not for everyone. Like there's other divisions in the sport of bodybuilding that their physique might be more fit for. So you don't have to force yourself to any one division, kind of grow into the division, because definitely women's bodybuilding is a size factor and it is definitely a muscle factor. So if you're one of those that just don't want to put on so much muscle, you don't have to be in women's bodybuilding. But I think if you want to grow and you want to continue growing and bring your physique to the place where it just has no limitations as far as muscle development and maturity, then women's bodybuilding is definitely for you. So just know exactly which division is a fit for you and just go from there.
Beautifully and eloquently said. Please adhere to those words of wisdom from the one and only Miss Sandra Hewins. And Miss Sandra, please promote the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where everybody could follow you on all forms of social media. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. My Instagram is IFBB Pro Celebrity Fit Girl. And I don't have a Twitter. So, and my Facebook is IFBB Pro Sandra Hewins. So they can hit me up on either one of those social media platforms. And I do respond back to everyone, most everyone, that actually, if they have questions or comments or whatever, I'm always, open to dialogue. So, yeah.
links to the Facebook and the Instagram will be in the description below. And go out of your way to follow Miss Sandra Hewins there, because like I said, training videos and just overall inspiring photos and a lot of empowerment that goes into your social media fronts and you as a person. So before we do close this out as well, do you have any final words for your fans? I've been supporting you since day one, and everybody just in general. Do you have any final words, Miss Sandra Hewins?
No, I just thank everyone that has followed me through my fitness journey, through my pro transition, my pro journey. I thank everyone that has been, following me over the years. I have a lot of people that reach out to me and just tell me how long they've been following my fitness journey and how it has inspired them. So I just want to thank all of them. And actually, I just want to give a shout out to one of my best and dearest friends in the bodybuilding industry. Her name is Michelle Brent. She just did the New York Pro, and she's responsible for this necklace I'm wearing. She makes custom, costume jewelry for competitions and shows for amateur and pro. So guys, I want you guys to reach out to her. She made this for me as a gift, for just being a bodybuilding friend to her. So shout out to her, and I want her, to make your competition jewelry for anyone that, is going to step on stage. So that's it. And yeah, it's been great, just being on here with you guys.
Same. First of all, much love, Michelle, and that necklace is beautiful. I have to say that right now. Styling and profiling, beautifully done. And I will say this before we close out: beauty, strength, and dominance, the three key elements that make women the work of art that they are. And Sandra Hewins, I include you in those sentiments. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Peace out.